المسلمون على أن البسملة آية من القرآن. Now, although they disagreed regarding whether it is from Al-Fatiha or not, but they already agreed that Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim is Quran. So there is an agreement, there is an ijma' أن البسملة من القرآن الكريم. واتفقوا أيضا أنها آية في سورة النمل. في سورة النمل إنه من سليمان وإنه بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم ألا تعلوا علي وأتوني مسلمين. In that particular location in Surah Al-Naml, بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم is agreed that it is original ayah from the surah. Remember that Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim in Surah Al-Naml doesn't start. The surah doesn't start with that Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. It's in the middle. After many ayat, then comes إنه من سليمان وإنه بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم ألا تعلوا علي وأتوني مسلمين. That's why, because it is in the middle, there was no argument about it. It is Quran. Now, Muslims also agree, Muslim scholars agree that in Surah Al-Tawbah, in the beginning of Surah Al-Tawbah, there is no Basmala. If you open the Mus'haf now, you find in every surah, Al-Fatiha, Al-Baqarah, Al-Imran, Al-Nisa, Al-Ma'idah, Al-A'raf, Al-An'am before that, and all Surah Al-Nas. All of them you will find Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim in the beginning. Forget about whether this Basmala in the beginning is part of the surah or not, or just starting with, but in every surah there is the beginning Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, except for Surah At-Tawbah. That is ittifaq, there is ijma', consensus that At-Tawbah doesn't have Basmala in the beginning. Also, the Muslim scholars agree أن البسملة موجودة في المصحف. That Basmala should exist in the Mus'haf. You cannot find Mus'haf without Basmala in the beginning of each surah except for Tawbah. Now, also the Muslim scholars agree أن جاحدها لا يكفر. If a scholar, a researcher, a commoner, ustaz, student, if this person comes and says, no, I don't think Basmala is part of the Quran, this statement will not make him kafir. But if any person in the world says, I don't think Surah Al-Ikhlas is part of the Quran, then that's kafir. Right? So, in other parts of the Quran, the statement or any form of rejection will lead the person out from the fold of Islam. However, the Basmala does not. So, of course, we don't welcome that. We are not encouraging people to say, no, the Basmala is not part of the Quran, but if anyone makes such position, this doesn't make him a kafir. By Ijma'. Now, where the ikhtilaf? So the ittifaq, a lot of ittifaq, right? اتفقوا على أن البسملة آية في سورة النمل. اتفقوا على أنها لا تقرأ في أول أول سورة التوبة، واتفقوا على أنها موجودة في المصحف، واتفقوا على أن من أنكرها ليس كافرا. So this 4 or 5 اتفاق أن بسملة من القرآن في سورة النمل، اتفاق أنها لا تقرأ في أول سورة التوبة 2، اتفقوا على إثباتها في المصاحف 3، واتفقوا على أن جاحدها لا يكفر. Yeah. Now, for agreement, what is the اختلاف then? What is the difference? The difference is about قرآنية الفاتحة. Whether the Fatiha is Quran. That's the first difference. اختلفوا في قرآنية الفاتحة. They agree that it should be in the Mus'haf. But is it in the Mus'haf because it is Quran, or it is because it starts every surah? That's another story. But there is ikhtilaf whether the basmala is even Quran. Let us look at these views. There are a lot of views. The view number 1, or the opinion number 1, it says that al-basmala laysat ayah mutlaqan. So they say al-basmala, it is not a verse. It is not a verse. It is not Quran. And it is not Quran whether in Al-Fatiha or in Al-Baqarah or in Al-Nisa or in Al-Imran or in Al-Kahf or in Ibrahim or in Yusuf. All the chapters of the Quran, although we start with Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, but this Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim is not Quran. Is not actually Quran. Yeah. من الذين قالوا بهذا القول؟ المالكي. We. That's why if you pray behind me in Jahri Salat, you will probably hear Takbirat al-Ihram, Allahu Akbar, Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. I start with Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. Yeah. Because of Maliki. And the Malikiyya do not consider al-Basmala part of Al-Fatiha. And it is not part of any other surah. Yeah. هل المالكية فقط؟ لا. قول عند الأحناف. قول عند الأحناف. Do you understand what we mean by قول عند الأحناف? What does it mean? Huh? Yeah. But when we say opinion, is it why we didn't say Malikiya and Ahnaf? Why we add the word qawlan?
Few from the Hanafiya only.
One opinion, because there are more than one opinion in the Hanafi school. So one of these many says that al-basmala is not which or who reject the fact that al-basmala is part of the Fatiha. Repeat, Malikiyya. One of the views of the Hanafiya and one of the two narrations of Imam Ahmad. And that's it, yeah. Okay, now ما أدلة هؤلاء? What are the arguments? They have many arguments. They have at least 10 adillah. I collected the 10 in another place, not here. But let us take the major ones, the strongest. Number 1, حديث أبي هريرة رضي الله تعالى عنه قال إني سمعت رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم يقول قال الله تعالى قسمت الصلاة بيني وبين عبدي نصفين. الصلاة here is Fatiha. I divided the prayer, the Fatiha in the Salah, two halves between me and my servant or my slave. وَلِعَبْدِي مَا سَأَلَ, and I will answer the questions of my abd, because in the Fatiha there are some other questions. اهدنا الصراط المستقيم. You ask. Yeah, and others. فإذا قال العبد الحمد لله رب العالمين قال الله حمدني عبدي. So when you say الحمد لله رب العالمين, Allah Azza wa Jalla says حمدني عبدي. وإذا قال الرحمن الرحيم قال الله تعالى أثنى علي عبدي. وإذا قال مالك يوم الدين قال مجدني عبدي. وقال مرة in another narration فوض إلي عبدي. فإذا قال إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين قال هذا بيني وبين عبدي ولعبدي ما سأل. فإذا قال اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين قال هذا لعبدي ولعبدي ما سأل. Where the argument of the Maliki, or the one narration of Ahmed and one of the Hanafi school also. وجه الاستدلال, what is the argument here? أنه نص على المناصفة, because in the hadith قسمت الصلاة بيني وبين عبدي. قسمت يعني I half it, half. المناصفة is halving. لأنه وقف على رؤوس الآيات, and you saw that in the hadith it starts with فإذا قال عبدي الحمد لله. So that's the beginning of the verse. الحمد لله رب العالمين. Right? Then الرحمن الرحيم, the beginning of the second verse. الرحمن الرحيم. Then the next one مالك يوم الدين. That's 3. Then إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين. That's 4. Then اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. That's 5. Yeah. إذن المناصفة, and in the halving, every halving starts with the beginning of the verse, right? ولو كانت التسمية من الفاتحة لم تتحقق المناصفة. If the Bismillah Basmala is part of the surah, then you will not have the halving, because the hadith didn't say فإذا قال عبدي بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. No, straight away to إذا قال عبدي الحمد لله رب العالمين. So the discarding of Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim shows that the Prophet and Allah Azza wa Jalla never consider Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim as part of the Fatiha. You understand the argument? Okay, good. Now, we move to the next one. القول الثاني. So the first view, the view of the Malikiyah, one view of one of the two narrations of Imam
Hanafi.
Abu Ahmad, and one of the views in the school of the Abu Hanifa, they consider the Basmala not part of the Fatiha and not part of any other surah of the Quran. Now the second view is the view which says that Al-Basmala is indeed an ayah from Al-Fatiha. It is an ayah, and it is an ayah from every surah except for the Tawbah. من قال بهذا القول؟ الشافعية. من الشافعي وأصحابه only. So you are the only one who says this. Because you are Shafi'i, right? Yeah. That's why when you recite Al-Fatiha, you start with Bismillah ar-Rahim, right?
Yeah.
What are your arguments, your adillah? You have adillah. You have, I think, 13 or 14 dalil. The Malikiyah and the Kuh, they got like 10. You have more. Let's see. I will not cover all of them, one only enough. Because I took one dalil from the Malikiyah. After that, when I give you the document, you will find the adillah all there. The 10 of the Malikiyah, the 12 or 13 of Shafi'i. Alright, الدليل الذي اخترناه, the argument that we selected, أن المصحف لم يكتب الصحابة فيه ما ليس من القرآن. So the Shafi'iyya, they say, look, the matter is so simple. When the Sahaba were ordered by the Prophet ﷺ to record the Quran, the instruction was clear. Don't write anything that is not Quran. Just write what is Quran. And the fact that the Sahaba wrote Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim in the first document, the first Quran, and the Prophet knew that they wrote Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, and he didn't tell them why you went against my will. I gave instructions that you should write only Quran, and you went and wrote Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. If the Prophet didn't argue with them, if the Sahaba wrote Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim in the Quran, this will lead to only one conclusion, right? What is the conclusion?
Bid'ah.
Al-Basmala is indeed a Quran. Yeah. قال البيهقي is الشافعي. قال أصحابنا, our people, الشافعية, وهو من أقوى أدلة هذا المذهب. And this is one of the most powerful arguments used by the Madhab Shafi'i to prove that al-Basmala is indeed Quran. Faham? They say it is not Quran at all. Yeah. They say it is written in the Mus'haf, we don't have a problem with that, but don't consider that Quran. لا النمل there is إجماع. The Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim in Surah Al-Naml, because I said it is in the middle. That one, nobody is arguing. All of the Muslim mazahib agree that it is Quran, Bismillahir-Rahmanir-Rahim of Surah Al-Naml. Not because it starts with, because there are two. The beginning, the starting, Bismillahir-Rahmanir-Rahim, that one is subject of argumentation. But the Basmala in the middle of Surah Al-Naml, when Balqis, the queen of Saba, says, إِنَّهُ مِن سُلَيْمَانَ. The letter is from Solomon. وَإِنَّهُ بِسْمِ اللَّهِ الرَّحْمَنِ الرَّحِيمِ أَلَّا تَعْلُوا عَلَيَّ وَأْتُونِي مُسْلِمِينَ. So they say Bismillahir-Rahmanir-Rahim in that part, in that location is Quran. It is Quran, yeah, because it is inside the middle. But the argument, the debate is about the Basmala that starts in a chapter of the Quran. Yeah. All right, now we move to the third opinion. So far we knew two. The view of the Malikiya and one of the views, one of the opinions of Ahmad and one of the different views of Abu Hanifa. The second is the view of Imam Shafi'i and his followers. Now let us move to the qawl الثاني. القائلون بأن البسملة آية فذة من القرآن. ما معنى آية فذة? It means that the Basmala is an ayah by its own. By its own. It doesn't belong to Al-Fatiha. It doesn't belong to Baqarah. It doesn't belong to any surah. It is by its own. It's not a surah, of course. It doesn't constitute a surah because it is tiny. But it is an ayah, independent ayah. Autonomous, if you want to say. وليست آية من السور, so it is independent,
No,
but it doesn't belong to any surah. It's not part of the Fatiha, it is not part of any surah. من صاحب هذا المذهب؟ أصحاب هذا المذهب هم المتأخرون من الحنفية. ما معنى المتأخرون؟ The scholars of the Hanafi school, but not the early ones. Not Abu Hanifa, not Abu Yusuf, not Abu Hassan al-Shaybani, not Zufr ibn al-Harith, not the other early scholars. No, they were the one that came after many generations. So they adopted this view. طيب, do they have other supporters? Yes. وصحيح مذهب الإمام أحمد. Remember, we said Imam Ahmad got two narrations, right? Yeah. So the first one agreeing with the Malikiya. The second one, and it is stronger than the first one, is that Basmala is ayatun fadda. It is alone by its own. It's independent. It doesn't belong to any surah. But it is Quran. It is Quran. Alright. Anybody else? واختاره الإمام شيخ الإسلام ابن تيمية. Ibn Taymiyyah also agreeing, because Ibn Taymiyyah, he is influenced by Imam Ahmad a lot. Yeah. So we can consider him Hanbali, although he doesn't like, he says that I'm not following the mazhab. But the Salafiyya, most of them, they are in agreement with most of the Hanbali fiqh. Yeah. Although they say we are not mazhab, because for them, the Salafiyya, they deny mazhabiyya. They don't like to be under one dominion or mazhab. They say when we deal with Quran and Sunnah, we deal directly. We shouldn't judge Quran and Sunnah based on أقوال الرجال. We need to understand Quran and Sunnah, implement Quran and Sunnah directly. So you and me and others, when we reach rutbat al-ijtihad, we shouldn't belong to any, or we shouldn't refer to the people. We should refer directly to the Quran and Sunnah, to the text. But if you are not in the level of ijtihad, you can refer to some scholars, not to mazhab. Still, they don't tolerate the idea of mazhab. They don't like it. They consider madhab bid'ah. They say it is bid'ah, innovation. The Sahaba never had this mazhab. The Tabi'un never had this mazhab. Imam Malik, Imam Abu Hanifa, Imam Ahmed never claimed that they are making a mazhab. It's the bid'ah of those who came late, those who forced the ummah to belong to or to classify the members of the ummah in one mazhab. You are from North Africa, then you are Maliki. You are from Malaysia and Indonesia, then you are Shafi'i. You are from Pakistan, Turkey, India, or then you are Hanafi. You are from Saudi Arabia, from Qatar, or you are Hanbali. They say this is bid'ah. That's why Imam Ibn Taymiyyah, Shaykh al-Islam Ibn Taymiyyah, is a great scholar. He doesn't actually openly say that I'm Hanbali, although he prefers the fiqh of Imam Ahmed. And most of his fatawa Ibn Taymiyyah are in line with the methodology and the thinking of Imam Ahmed. You have a question?
I have two questions.
Okay, first
Okay.
one.
First
The
one.
first one, since you said that the third place is like the basmala
Is independent.
an ayah. Is an ayah.
Yeah. It is Quran, but independent, doesn't belong to any. Basmala is an independent, it's Quran, but it is independent, it doesn't belong to any surah. Okay? ومن أدلة هذا القول, among the arguments of this third school, الجمع بين أدلة القائلين بأن البسملة آية من الفاتحة والقائلين بأنها آية من كل سورة، ووجهوا أدلة القائلين بأنها ليست آية ليصلوا إلى نتيجة أن البسملة من القرآن ولكنها ليست آية من الفاتحة أو من كل السور، فكان قوله وسطا بين القولين السابقين وأنها كتبت على حدة في المصحف للدلالة على أنها ليست من أول السور. So this approach of the متأخرين of the Hanafiya, those late Hanafis, they tried to do takamul, to bring all these two views and create a third path. The Malikiya refused al-Basmala. They say it is not Quran at all. The Shafi'iyya, they say it is Quran and it is an ayah from each surah, including al-Fatiha. So there are two extremes. One saying it is surah, it is Quran, the other one says it is not. So the third opinion tried to bring the two extremes closer. Let us say it is Quran, but it is not part of the Fatiha. So they agree with the Malikiyya, it is not part of the Fatiha. It is not part of any surah. They agree also with the Malikiyya. But they agree also with the Shafi'iyya when they say it is Quran. So they try to integrate. They try to integrate and they bring filling the gap between the two extremes. That's the third opinion. Now, القول الرابع. There is a fourth school. القول الرابع يقولون أن البسملة آية من الفاتحة عند من تواترت عندهم وليست آية عند الآخرين. This one also they tried to fill the gap. They said البسملة can be an ayah from Surah Al-Fatiha, part of Al-Fatiha. But is it for everyone? No. For those who have the dalil. For those who have the argument and they have the evidence that Al-Basmala is part of the Fatiha. And it is not an ayah from Al-Fatiha for those who do not have evidence. So I would say that this is not an opinion, to be honest. This is probably an analysis rather than an opinion, because they don't actually give evidence. They just report to us, they tell us. They tell us, for those, look, we have to be tolerant. For those who have the need, yeah, okay. Let it be part of Al-Fatiha. And for those who have the dalil, the opposite dalil, then okay, let us say that Al-Basmala is not part of Al-Fatiha. طيب من يقول بهذا القول؟ Who are the scholars who take this approach, this stand? الظاهرية. Do you know who are الظاهرية?
No.
Anyone knows? Anyone heard about the word Zahiriyya before? Huh? Say, you know nothing in saying. True. You are right. It's small madhab. It never reached the fame and the popularity of the four mazhabs. But at one point it existed. Who was the founder? The founder is Dawood al-Zahiri. Dawood al-Zahiri. And among the very famous scholars of the madhab al-Zahiri is Ibn Hazm al-Andalusi. Ibn Hazm al-Andalusi. Ibn Hazm wrote many books, and he is from Spain, from Andalus, like Qurtubi, right? Yeah. Remember Qurtubi?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. What is the approach of the Zahiriyya? The Zahiriyya, they say, look, we reject at-ta'weel. Ta'weel means interpretation. When we deal with the text, we take the text as it appears literally. So no need for us, because the text is wahi. The text is wahi. And wahi means it is from Allah. And when you do the interpretation, it means that you give your opinion. It's your understanding. And when it involves your understanding, is no longer pure like it has been as wahi. Because now the understanding is influenced by your own. Like when you said that maybe I will change my view and start reciting Al-Fatiha without Basmala. That's her view. And her view, when I started, double checking, I found that it is not very, very much founded, because she based it on just one dalil of the Malikiyya. But she didn't see the other 9 of the dalil of the Maliki and the other 11, 12. She saw only one from the Shafi'i, right? So the view is always influencing the authenticity of the belief. When you do interpretation, the human touch, the human influence is there. And we shouldn't do that with the wahi. They say the wahi is holy. The wahi is sacred. It shouldn't be influenced by your own understanding. Because you are a human being. No matter how smart you are, still you are a human. You make mistakes. So the Zahiriyya, they say, in order to avoid any form of distortion. You know what is distortion? Tahrif. Or deviation, inhiraf, or change. Therefore, no need. Nobody is allowed to do ta'wil. That's the Zahiriyya. Faham? So the Zahiriyya and who else? Ibn Hajar. I think you know Ibn Hajar, right? Ibn Hajar is he's a doctor, right?
Siapa tu?
No. He is stronger than any doctor. He's professor. No, he is not professor. He lived before these titles. Yeah. Ibn Hajar is Shafi'i scholar, and he is the one who explained Sahih al-Bukhari.
Oh.
Fath al-Bari. Have you heard about Fath al-Bari? Yes. Who wrote Fath al-Bari?
Siapa tulis?
Ibn Hajar al-Asqalani. Yes. Yeah. His name is Ibn Hajar al-Asqalani. Asqalan is a city, small city in Palestine.
Ah.
And now it is occupied by the Zionists. Yeah. And it is a port city, Mediterranean. And Ibn Hajar was one of the great scholars of Islam. He is one of the founders and great scholars of Shafi'i Mazhab. But his famous book is Fath al-Bari. Yeah. So Ibn Hajar also agrees with this opinion. Who else? Al-Imam As-Suyuti. I think you know Imam Suyuti, right?
Pernah dengar tapi
You know the name. you don't know even the full name of Imam Suyuti.
Suyut.
Just the
Sakit
words.
kita boleh.
Yeah. Do you know his mazhab?
Syafi'i
Shafi, you are guessing or you are...
Guessing.
See, our knowledge is very little. When we start making this kind of review, we find our knowledge is knowledge of Masakin.
Okay.
Poor, very poor, to say the least. All right. So you look for his full name and you look for his mazhab, and at least one of his books. This is what will improve your knowledge. Next time, when other lecturer says, you know Imam Suyuti? Oh, of course I know. It's Muhammad ibn Jalal Qadha Suyuti, right? Then, and he wrote very good book, and you mentioned the name of the book. Of course, you can check in Google now.
Jalaluddin.
So, did you find anything?
Jalaluddin Asayuddin.
Jalaluddin, okay.
Egyptian Sunni.
What is his mazhab?
This is mazhab.
Not yet.
He considered as mujtahid and mujahid.
You are still searching.
Wikipedia, bye.
Doesn't say. Are you in which website?
Wikipedia.
Wikipedia. Wikipedia is not the best. You know,
Student Shafi'i.
Syafi'i.
I know in Shafi'i, but I'm telling you, Wikipedia is not the reference. Because anyone can write. You know, I have an account in Wikipedia, and I can write what I want. I can write that I'm Prime Minister of Malaysia. And it will be written there until someone else comes and correct it. So you see, if the unlucky people, those who will come in the wrong time and see that my statement, Dr. Taharawi is the Prime Minister of Lebanon, he will think that if he thinks that Wikipedia is a good reference. So be careful, Wikipedia is not an academic reference. Huh? It's, yeah. Coincidentally, they are right. Okay, next. إذا هذا القول هو قول الظاهرية، وجوه فرق الظاهرية نعم. And Ibn Hajar, وجوه Ibn Hajar is from Ariha, right? From Qudus, Bayt al-Maqdis.
The Palestine.
From
The
Asqalan. Asqalan, yeah. Al-Asqalani.
Asqalan.
And السيوطي وصححه ابن الجزري.
Sorry, Ibn Jazri siapa?
صححه means ابن الجزري صححه, the word صححه means that Ibn al-Jazri says that this is the correct position that we should take. So he refuses the other views. He prefers and validated this particular one. طيب. Do they have adilla? Yes. Remember, the view is that al-basmala is part of al-Fatiha for those who have dalil, and it is not part of al-Fatiha for those who have dalil. All right. What are the dalils? One of the dalils is that بعض القراء السبعة قرأوا بها. You know, there are قراءات
سبعة.
Some they say قراءات العشر. I think last time I stayed late with some of the girls in the class, and I explained to them because they asked me, what do we mean by القراءات السبعة والقراءات العشرة? When I differentiated between القراءات and الحروف السبعة, I told them that نزل القرآن على 7 أحرف, means the Quran was revealed to the Prophet in 7 Arabic dialects. Dialects are the Arabic, the spoken Arabic of the 7 major tribes in Arabia. One of them is Quraysh. One of them is Quraysh. So until the time of Sayyidina Uthman, there were 7 forms of Quran. What do you mean by 7 forms? Sometimes you may find a word completely different from another word in another harf. Because the qaba'il of Arab, the tribes, the 7 tribes, they have sometimes some words different from the rest. So the Quran was revealed in 7 copies, 7 forms. Of course, maybe 95% of the 7 narrations or 7 dialects are the same. For example, one from Quraysh, the descent, the tongue of Quraysh, when they order someone to say something, they say Qul. And the other tribe also say Qul. So maybe the 7 they use the same word Qul. But sometimes, and this is just 5% out of 100%, you may find words which are different from one tribe to another. That's why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala revealed the Quran to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam in 7 dialects. Example of the dialect, جاء وفد من طيب. One delegation from the tribe of Tayyib. This is name of a tribe.
Jangan gelap.
In
In Arabic is Tayyib. Tayyib.
Tayyib.
Yeah. جاءوا they came to Medina. I think it's very famous. And they asked the Prophet صلى الله عليه وسلم, هل من بر في صيام في سفر؟ هل من بر? So the tanween of birrin, we write it?
Meron.
Right?
Birin.
Birrin. But for type, the tanween becomes mim. هل من بر في صيام في سفر؟ هل هناك بر في صلاة السفر؟ Is it good to complete the salat while we are in journey, while we are traveling? أجابهم النبي, the Prophet responded using their dialect. فقال ليس من بر في صيام في سفر. See, the Prophet is smart. He's an Arab. He knows the 7 dialects, all of them. Although he's from Quraysh and he speaks Quraysh dialect, but because these people needed an answer according to them to make them feel comfortable, so he answered them according to their dialect. So you see, these are the very small differences in the dialects. For example, the tanween will become mim, sakina. This is what happened when the Quran was revealed in 7 dialects. During the time of Sayyidina and while the Muslims were fighting the kuffar in Azerbaijan and Persians and so on, the Muslim army came from different places. And everyone was aware of the Quran according to his dialect. So they are not familiar with the other dialects, not like the Prophet. So when they heard others reciting the Quran in different ways, they started to argue. Each thinks that the other one is reciting Quran in the wrong way, and they were offended. So one Sahabi by the name of Hudayfa ibn Yaman, Hudayfa ibn Yaman, radiyallahu ta'ala anhu, saw how people are arguing, fighting. And don't forget, those are the time of Jahil. There was no education, no formal schools, no universities, no teachers, no educational system at all. So the oral culture, people just memorizing, people they know what they know, only in their own bi'ah, in their own environment. So Hudayfa started to worry because people not only didn't tolerate each other, they started to fight. Each one thinks that he is right and the others are wrong. So Hudayfa ibn Yaman traveled all the way from Azerbaijan, where he was doing jihad, back to Medina al-Munawwara. You are talking about at least 3,000-4,000 kilometers. And straight away went to the Bayt, to the house of Khalifa Uthman, and told him, يا خليفة يا أمير المؤمنين أدرك الأمة قبل أن تختلف اختلاف اليهود والنصارى. Take an action before this ummah will divide, will get disunited, like the disunity that happened in the past between the Jewish tribes and the Christian people. Take an action. And then Sayyidina Uthman told him what happened. And Hudayfa ibn Yaman explained what is going on in the jabha, in the fighting front there. So Sayyidina Uthman, of course, called for an emergency meeting, which included Kibar Sahaba. Kibar Sahaba means the eminent companions, those who were with the Prophet ﷺ all the way. Those who stayed, of course, alive, because Abu Bakr died, Umar ibn Khattab already died. And among those who arrived Zayd ibn Thabit, who was one of the writers of Wahy. And Ubay ibn Ka'b, one of the writers of Wahy. So a committee was established and the decision was made that we are going to standardize the Quran. How we standardize the Quran? The 95% of the Quran that is agreed upon by all the dialects, we will take it. The other 5%, we will take only the Quraysh tongue. So the other tongues, we will just remove. For example, let's say Surah Al-Asr. If وَالْعَصْرِ إِنَّ الْإِنسَانَ لَفِي خُسْرٍ, if it has any differences according to dialect, we will take only the dialect of Quraysh, because Quraysh is the afsah. The most eloquent is the lisan of Quraysh. And because the Prophet ﷺ is from Quraysh, the early Sahaba are from Quraysh. So let us standardize this and remove all the other variations of the Quran, and they burn them. They burn all those extra, and now we have a standardized Quran. So one of the sadaqah jariyah of Sayyidina Uthman, for you, for me, for everyone, for those who will come after us, for those who live before us, is that we standardize the Quran. I believe that the ajr of making such great, such wonderful decision will continue to come to Sayyidina Uthman until the last Muslim on this earth. Imagine if we got these differences on and on. We will have, like the Christians, they have many Bibles. And these Bibles are different.
Yeah.
And each, they say the other are wrong. Some they say that they are kafir. If not because of the action of the smartness of Hudayf ibn Yaman, and the response of Sayyidina Uthman because he was Amir al-Mu'mineen, then we will be in a big, huge trouble. Sorry, I give a lot of information because there are also many things that you need to learn. You see, you don't know Hajar al-Asqalani, right?
Yeah.
You don't know who are the Dahiri, you don't know who is the Suyuti. Huh? So I asking you also, do you know what are the Qira'at al-Ashr? So this is the Ahruf al-Saba'. So when you are asking what is an Ahruf al-Saba', you say the 7 letters is a term referring to the 7 major dialects existed in Arabia during the time of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. The Quran was revealed in 7 dialects. The 7 dialects agree in more than 90%. Maybe the difference is only 5%. This 5% was even removed by Sayyidina Uthman anhu, because the Muslims started to fight and accuse each other, and the Sahaba did an ijma' that we need to standardize the Quran in the 5% according to the lisan or the dialect of Quraysh. Tamam?
Tamam.
Yeah. Now to the qira'at. Qira'at is not huruf. Qira'at are just the ahkam of tajweed and tartib. You here in Malaysia, and actually maybe 70% of the Muslim world, recite the Quran according to the qira'ah of Imam Hafs. But there are other 6 readings, and according to some other scholars, there are not 6, there are 9, because the total is 10. 10 qira'ah. Some they just restricted to 7. And second after Hafiz is Qira'at al-Imam Warsh. Yeah. We belong to Warsh. What are the differences? The differences are not related to words, for example, like the ahruf. No. It's about the mudud, the ahkam, the qawa'id of tartib. For example, in Surah Al-Fatiha, we say Maliki, you say Maliki Yawmiddin, we say Maliki Yawmiddin. There is no difference in meaning. Malik is the owner, Malik is the owner. So there is no problem with the meaning, it's just the method of the alif exists in Hafs, but it doesn't exist in Hafs. Another small knowledge, piece of information for you. The Quran, when it was revealed to the Prophet ﷺ, لم يكن مشكلا. You know what is tashkil?
Yes.
Tashkil are the dots and the hamzat and all these didn't exist in the collection of Sayyiduna Abu Bakr and in the collection of Sayyiduna Uthman. They collected the Quran, but there is no tashkil. For example, if we want to write one small text on the Quran, let's say Baqarah, Alif,
Lam.
Lam, Mim. ذلك الكتاب. See, no dots, no hamza, nothing. So when this tashkil started to exist, it was done by Al-Hajjaj ibn Yusuf al-Thaqafi. Al-Hajjaj ibn Yusuf al-Thaqafi was the governor of Al-Kufa. For whom? For the Umayyad, Banu Umayyad. So this is like more than 100 years after the time of the Prophet ﷺ, after the Hijrah. Yani you are talking about 100 to 120 after the Hijrah. So this caused some differences because when you don't have the dots, you can read the Quran sometimes probably in some, and you have a reason. وَتِلْكَ الْعِظَامُ, see for example, وَتِلْكَ الْعِظَامُ نُنْ شِرُهَا نُنْ ثُمَّ نَكْسُوهَا لَحْمًا. See, no harakat. No dots, no tashkil. So, coming to this, ننشرها, there is one qira'ah, ننشرها, ننشرها. And your qira'ah, ننشزها. You add the dot here. And nunshir and nunshiz, both they have the same meaning. Means that we bring back to life. So these are details that justify some of the differences. So when you have a text without tashkil, and the Arabs, by the way, they didn't use the writing. They don't do a lot of writing. I told you, I think before, that they have the oral culture. They commit knowledge to memory. They don't commit it to books. They don't have books. They don't have in the early Islam, classic Islam. Only later on, during the time of the Abbasiyya, the knowledge started to come, the books started to come, translations started to come. We started to record books. Collection of Bukhari, collection of Muslim, collection of Al-Nasai, all these came later. All these came later. In the early ages, everything is by memorization. That's why we say that Arabs have oral culture. Oral. See معلقات السبع in Shi'r, for example. They memorized the Shi'r of I'm going to choose the view of the Malikiyah, or the view of the Shafi'iyah, or the view of the Mutaakhirin and Hanafiya, or the fourth view that accepts both. يظهر أن منشأ الخلاف هو الاختلاف في الأدلة من حيث الثبوت والاستنباط. So why the difference started in the first place? The difference, if you look at the full list of the Adillah, 10 from the Malikiyya, 12 from the Shafi'iyya, another 4 or 5 from the third opinion. If you look at this Adillah, they involve two types of Adillah: textual, hadith, Quran, and also
Contextual.
rational Adillah. Yeah. That's why it says the Adillah من حيث الثبوت is for the textual. Istinbat is for the rational one. ومسألة هل يكتفى في هذه المسألة بالضبط أم لا بد من الفرق؟ يعني number one, this one don't bother yourself with, والظاهر صحة القول الرابع لأن فيه جمعا بين الأقوال وإعمالا بجميع الأدلة. So the author of this book
Cannot make up
refers
his
the fourth
mind.
opinion. I disagree with him, because the fourth opinion, which, remember, says Al-Fatiha, Al-Basmala could be part of
The Quran.
Al-Fatiha for those who believe
And
and
also
have the dalils, and could be not for those who do not have enough adilla that it is. For me, this is not a rational stand, because there is a rule. It says الحق لا يتعدد. Truth cannot vary, cannot be white and black at the same time. Can I tell you, you are fasting and not fasting at the same time? It's impossible. It's illogical, right? It's either you are fasting or not fasting. Can I tell you, you are Malaysian and non-Malaysian? No. So when he comes and says, it is Basmala part of the Fatiha for those and not part of the, it looks like comforting from the surface. It solves the problem temporarily. It's like someone who is thirsty and goes and drinks something sweet. So the drink itself will quench your thirst for some time, but later on you will get thirsty again. So it doesn't solve the problem. You know, if you are really thirsty, you need to drink water. Now, a year. That's what quenches me. But if you drink something that is sweet, probably at the moment you feel like, better than it. But 10 minutes after, you will again, maybe you get more thirsty than before. And this is what is happening there. So I disagree with the author with all the respect. I disagree with him, and I believe that we need to make another tarjih. But you will find the tarjih in my own book. Yeah, because I'm writing a book on the ayatul ahkam. The same course. Of course, I'm making a book, but it is just there. I didn't complete it. But I completed few topics. One of them is Surah Al-Fatiha. أحكام متعلقة بسورة الفاتحة. I will, inshallah, furnish you with the adillah, the 10 and the 12 and the 4, and I would like you to look at it. It's very interesting because of course you will be frustrated when you see a dalil of the Maliki, you think, that's very strong. Then you go and find another dalil in the other school which is equally strong. So it's up to you to prepare and deceive the knowledge, to leave knowledge. When you get a headache, when you don't know what to do, when you want to hit yourself on the table, this is it is called hayratul alim, the frustration of the scholar. You will not obtain knowledge until you get frustrated. If you want things easy, this is not a scholar. This is an administrator. You are an officer. Because officer just implementing rules. Oh, the boss said, write a letter of Shuko's letter for the staff. He will write Shuko's letter. Write